video, we'll discuss who you should ask to write your letters of recommendation and when to ask them to do it. First, let's start by briefly discussing what schools are looking for in a letter of recommendation. Schools are looking for tailored and enthusiastic testimony to your future potential as a law student and a lawyer. They're looking for sincerity and authenticity in letters. You want to avoid submitting letters that are generic and boilerplate from authors who clearly don't know you very well. These types of letters are really easy for a reader to spot because they don't have a lot to say about you personally, and instead lean on facts like what class you were in, how you performed, things like that. It's perfectly fine and encouraged for professors to note the grade you received in their class, especially if you were a top student. But you don't want the letter to end there. So, who should you ask to write these letters for you? First, know that these letters should be professional or academic. They should come from professors or supervisors familiar with your work product and your work ethic. For academic letters, you'll want to find professors whose classes you did well in, where you participated frequently, and attended office hours. It's great if you have a personal relationship established with them, where they know a bit about your interest and goals in going to law school. For a professional work-related letter, look for a supervisor or someone in a position to evaluate your work. You don't need to ask the most senior person in your organization or the person who owns the company. You want a supervisor or manager who can speak to your day-to-day management, your work product, and again, your work ethic. Keep in mind the goals of the letter. If the author doesn't know you very well, it won't serve its purpose. What these letters should not be are personal letters of recommendation. Do not ask a friend, a neighbor, or a family friend who happens to be an attorney to write your letter if you didn't work with that person in a professional capacity. Furthermore, remember to think of your application holistically and consider gaps you may need to fill in and what types of letters may help you do that. So you'll want to think about potential weaknesses in your application that you can address and leverage through these letters. If, for example, you have a weak GPA and you know schools might have a concern about that, then perhaps find a professor whose class you did well in and have them write your letter speaking to the type of student you are to help reconcile any concerns that your transcripts might present. Lastly, in thinking about your application comprehensively, look to find recommenders that know you in different capacities that can highlight different aspects of your candidacy. If you're a student or recent graduate, find a professor who can speak to your academic achievements. Maybe you received the highest grade in their class and you were asked to TA the following semester. Then another can be from a professor who you maybe did research with, highlighting your research and writing skills. So in that example, even though both letters come from professors, they showcase different skills, both of which will be useful in law school. Next, let's discuss when to ask for this letter. One of the most important things in asking for a letter of recommendation is to give the author plenty of time to write it. Give your recommenders weeks or even months to turn the letter into you. And be considerate of their schedule. If you ask a professor, avoid the start of the semester or during midterm exams. They'll likely be very busy getting their courses up and running or grading all of their exams. The best time to reach out to professors is generally right before school begins, sometime in August. When you do ask someone to author a letter for you, be sure to share your deadline with them so they're aware of your timeline. I even suggest that you buffer your deadline by a few days or even weeks when you tell them. So if you want to get all of your applications in by November 15th, maybe tell them that you plan to get it done by November 1st. That way they have a couple extra days or a couple extra weeks to get it done and you aren't waiting on them to write your letter. Be sure to ask somebody if they're comfortable writing a positive letter for you. You want their honest feedback, but if they simply don't have the time to write a thoughtful letter or they don't have anything positive to say, it's in your best interest to ask somebody else. You want to be thoughtful in asking certain people to write the letter so you can feel confident that they'll do a great job. Lastly, keep in mind that you can dictate which letters are sent to which schools. So just because the school only accepts 2 letters of recommendation, you may still consider getting more than that and having specific letters sent to specific schools. For more questions on who to ask for these letters of recommendation or when to do it, be sure to contact us at info@jdadvising.com or check out our application assistance page on our website, www.jdadvising.com.